It's a beautiful day here today in Schuylkill County, Pennsylvania. I'm here in my personal garden in our backyard. Today we're going to find out the results of an experiment I did with growing potatoes. Now I grew the same amount of potatoes in this 3-foot by 6-foot raised bed and the same potatoes I grew in my 10-gallon grow bags. And I wanted to find out which way would get me the best yield. So we're going to test out the raised bed compared to the grow bags and see which one did better. So definitely stick around for this video. Now what do you think is going to grow more potatoes, the raised beds or the grow bags?
I think the raised beds, because the raised beds are longer than the bags.
Okay. Now for this video, the differences between the grow bags and this raised bed, I'm going to tell you right now. Now the potatoes that are growing in the grow bags definitely didn't get the same nutrition as in this raised bed, because this raised bed was filled with all new, brand new compost that is definitely going to be full of more nutrition than what was planted in the grow bags. However, those grow bags were full of compost that was put in them last year, and I didn't really add much except some a little bit of composted aged cow manure I did put on top of these potatoes as they started to grow, so they got a little bit of nutrition. Now the difference with this raised bed here is it's only 5.5 inches deep. Now I definitely mounded this up a bit to give the potatoes a little bit more space, but in these grow bags it's definitely a much deeper grow bag. It's probably about 12 inches deep. Now I grew 2 different varieties in both of these beds. One side was Yukon Gold and the other side was Pontiac Red. I really like those varieties. And this is the raised bed here, and I can already tell that the raised bed, at least the foliage, looks a lot larger than the foliage of the plants in the grow bags. Now here I have 2 rows of grow bags here. Some of them have gone to flower here, just like over in my raised bed, but the foliage definitely isn't as tall as it is over there. So I'm not sure if that's a good thing or a bad thing. It's not like we have any poor like yellowing leaves or anything like that. They're just not as large, but it's possible that I'll open up over here and find some really small potatoes or something. I don't know, we got to find out. Maybe there's more potatoes in here. I'm not sure, but definitely going to figure that out, and we'll weigh it all at the end to figure out which one grew more. So I have 8 bags here because I planted 1 potato in each bag. These are 10-gallon grow bags. So 1 row is Yukon Gold and 1 row is the Pontiac Red. And I did the same thing in the raised bed. There's 1 row with 8 seed potatoes of the Pontiac Red and 8 seed potatoes of the Yukon Golds. And now I'm going to get to harvesting. I don't remember which side I planted which potato. It looks like this side was the Yukon Golds. Now I probably could have let these grow a little bit more, but I just wanted to harvest. I just felt like harvesting. They weren't definitely done growing. I could have let these go until the leaves really die off, but I actually really like these size potatoes for making breakfasts and things like that. So I'm all right picking a little bit early. I probably could have gone a few more weeks until almost July, but I really wanted to pick these potatoes and see how they did. So a lot of greenery, but small potatoes. A good amount of them, however. Let's see. A lot of pill bugs in here. Let's see. Oh my gosh. There's a ton of ants in here. That's gross. Ugh. Go away, ants. Alright. Definitely would have grown a lot more if I let these grow, but really wanted to get these potatoes out of the ground so I can prepare for the next crop. Oh man. I really don't like pulling ants off. It's gross. Good thing is these potatoes are looking very healthy. Sometimes you grow potatoes that got scabs, bug bites all over them. These are looking fantastic. Little potatoes there. Something about fresh potatoes, they just taste better than the ones at the store. I'll tell you. I'm gonna go measure these right now and see how much we got. All right, we just got, I don't know if you can see that, 5.85 pounds of the Yukon Golds. Now we're gonna harvest these Pontiac Reds. Oh yeah. I really like these Pontiac Reds because the red really, really pops. I really like these kind of potatoes. Seems to be a little bit better of a yield. Maybe it's deceiving because of the color. They're sticking out more. I love baby red potatoes. I don't know what it is about them, but I really do enjoy them. Oh, that. Nothing better than harvesting fresh potatoes. Really not a lot of work. You plant them once, and then you enjoy a nice simple harvest about 3 months later. Now we didn't give them the full 90 days to really grow, as long as they could have, but it's going to get the good results for this test because they all got the same amount of time to grow. So we'll see which ones did better in the containers or in the raised bed. Maybe there won't be much difference at all. I am curious. Small ones that would have grown definitely would have got some more if we left this in the ground. There they go. I probably would have gave these a little bit more time if they weren't shading my other raised bed here so much. I just needed to give those potatoes more sunlight because they're still on the smaller size and I really need them to start growing, to start producing. That's a weed, that's not a potato. Now the best thing to do, at least for me right now, with all of this, these potato leaves, is you could either throw them right in your compost pile, or you could just leave them in place right on top of your row. So this will cover the soil until I'm ready to plant my next crop in here, which is going to be lettuce that's going in here next. So I have a heavy feeder, the potatoes, followed by a light feeding lettuce plant, which will be going in here very shortly. So I can cover the soil with these greens until I'm ready to plant that lettuce, and that'll work out really nicely. It'll keep the soil from kind of getting baked in the sun, and that's what I mean, just kind of like a green mulch to just cover up the soil, because otherwise it just gets baked in the sun. It loses a little bit of fertility when it's just cooking under the sun. So this way we're covering it, keep the worms happy. This will actually feed the subsoil here, keep the soil alive a little bit more. So now I'm going to go weigh these potatoes and see how they did compared to the Yukon Golds. So those Pontiac red potatoes got me 6.402 pounds from that row. So that's definitely a pound more than the Yukon Golds. They yielded a little bit more, and I have a feeling if I would have left them in for a few more weeks, they would have really outperformed the Yukon Golds in yield because there was a lot more baby seed potatoes that were about to really start to grow. So now I'm going to go get to the grow bags and see how they did in comparison. I don't remember which side was which, but we'll find out real quick what variety was in here, whether they're red or golden color. Whew. Yeah, these are the red ones on this side. Let's see if they did any better with the deeper bed. Definitely seem on the smaller side so far compared to that raised bed. Definitely had more nutrition in that raised bed. I could have done a better job adding some more to this one, but I just didn't do it for some reason. There's one here. Very small harvest. Definitely should have done a better job fertilizing these. So, to me, this is a pretty pitiful harvest of these compared to that first raised bed we just did. There were a lot of small ones, but there were more medium-sized ones. These are all just on the smaller size to me. So, I have a feeling that the fertility was just very down on these beds. Like maybe if I was growing something like sweet potatoes, it would have been fine, but for potatoes, they just need a little bit more nutrients to really grow a good crop, and I didn't give them that. All right, so we only got 4.1 pounds off that row of the red Pontiac red potatoes. Definitely did a lot better, 2 pounds better in fact, in the raised bed. So now we're gonna go harvest this other row of the Yukon Golds and see how these fared in comparison. So we got a 3.1 pounds from that container of the row of Yukon Golds. So here's a good comparison to see the yields. That's from the raised bed, and these are from the containers for the Yukon Golds. And these two piles here, the one on the left is from the raised bed, and this one on the right was from the grow bags. So definitely doesn't look that bad here, but there's definitely, you could tell it's a bigger pile on the left, and you could definitely tell that that is a bigger pile. So what this little experiment has taught me is that specifically for potatoes, it doesn't really matter how deep the container is, because they only had 4 to 5 inches of soil in this raised bed, but it was probably better and more full of nutrients than the soil that was in the deeper grow bags. And that makes a huge difference, because as you could see, the potatoes just grow around that one seed potato. So the results were the raised bed wins. The raised beds had a much higher yield of the potatoes, but in the future I'm going to do another experiment where I do another bed of my potatoes in the same way, but this time I'm going to make sure that they're using the same kind of soil in the pots as well, to really truly get a good measurement of which medium of growing them is the best. But That's all I wanted to share in this video. Hope you enjoyed my little potato growing experiment. If you did, please give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel for more videos like this one. Alright, thanks for watching. See you next time. You were right. We grew more in the raised bed.